Hi, my name is Allie Jones. I'm a certified child life specialist, and my job is to help kids learn about different diagnoses and illnesses in order to help them cope with what they're facing. I myself actually was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and one of the very first things that the nurse told me when I was hearing this news is to remember that not one person's diagnosis is the same. MS can vary a lot with how it looks for each person, the impacts that it can have, and so this conversation is really kind of a general concept of what MS is that can also be tweaked and changed for the type of MS that that person is facing. So in order to first understand MS, it's important that kids also understand what the brain is all about. And I love using giant microbes. They are these adorable little plushies that can be soft and cute and cuddly and also educational. So for kids, especially for older kids that maybe want more detail, you can explain how the brain, there's all kinds of different parts and functions, and each part helps control a different part of the body. So simply put, the brain is kind of like a remote control for our body. For this particular brain remote, I have the buttons see, touch, listen, talk, and play. So you'll see I colored in my remote control buttons and then made it align with the body. And next, what you can do is you can talk about how when each message is sent to the body, it travels through little wires. And the way that you can demonstrate those wire-like nerves is through pipe cleaners. You could attach it to the remote, make it go straight to the body to show how each colored wire aligns with each function of what the body does. Another way you can demonstrate messages being sent from one side of the controller to the rest of the body is through even threading some beads onto the pipe cleaner to show how the message is sent, and then it goes through to the body to have that action happen. But these wires are very sensitive and they need a special covering to help protect the messages that are being sent through them, which is then when you can talk about the myelin sheath that covers the nerves. You could also use some clear little straws to show how the nerve can go in them. So take your cut up straw and then thread that wire through the covering to demonstrate how it is protected. So you'll see that covering around it with the wire inside. I took some tape and made a little bead myself, but you can still demonstrate how a message can travel from the brain remote and then travel through that wire to the body. So we understand a little bit about the function of the brain. Now let's talk about what MS is. So MS, multiple sclerosis, means many scars, and it's so helpful to actually use the word of the disease with children because it's just a word. And the more that you can help explain it, then it gives them more of a framework of what it is. So explaining that MS is something that happens in someone's brain, and it involves these protected wires. And what happens is these wires start to get damaged or start to break and develop that scar. And very carefully and with grown-up supervision, in fact, grown-ups just do this part, make a little crack on the straw. It's a little easier if it's a plastic straw or something along those lines, but you can do that to represent the damage that can happen with that nerve. So here's my straw. You'll see how it's broken here, how there's damage to that protective covering, and it makes it so the messages get stuck or really slowed down when they're trying to be sent to the body. This is when you can start to talk about the ways that MS shows up for kids, relating it back to things that they might have seen or observed. So for touch, for example, if there's a damage on that wire and it's making that message travel really slow to the body, perhaps it means that someone is starting to have a tingly sensation in the things that they feel, or their arms or their legs. For others, it could be pain, that they're starting to feel pain in their bodies because of that cracked wire. Now, you can have conversations here too about, are there new lesions, new scars coming up on these wires? Or maybe it's a little bit more stable. Maybe through therapy or through treatment, the body is learning how to work to still send those messages. Again, everyone's MS is a little bit different, and this is where you can custom tailor your approach for what you talk about. There are things you can do to try to help repair some of this damage and also protect it from more damage. So to demonstrate this part of the conversation of treatment, We use Band-Aids actually, and you can add a therapeutic twist to this as well. So when you take out your Band-Aid, start by asking, how are we getting stronger as a family through this? Or what are some things that you really love or see mommy doing so well or daddy so well? You can write those things down on that Band-Aid and wrap it around where that damage is, nice and tight, so you can help that message travel even more smoothly. Sometimes there still might be a little bit of a stickiness or a slowness there that it still gets caught up on. Sometimes the damage that's happened can't be fully healed, but there are things that can be done, like infusions or medications that someone swallows, or maybe they give themselves a poke to try to help protect the brain from getting more damage on these wires and to help the messages be sent in a smooth way still. So in summary, the brain is like a remote control. It sends messages to the body through wire-like nerves that have a protective coating over them, like a straw. But in the case of MS, and re-emphasize, it's no one's fault that this happens. MS is not contagious. When MS happens, damage happens to that covering, which can slow down or impact the message being sent to the body. Continue to reiterate to the child how they can talk to you at any point. This is not just a one and done conversation. And also make plans for them on how they can still engage with their special person who is facing MS, even if they might experience some physical limitations. For additional resources as well as activities, you can check out the blank page, Adding Colorful Purpose to Multiple Sclerosis, which also gives different aids and visuals and tools on how to talk to kids about these conversations. You can also reach out to me at allie@childlifetogo.co for any questions, or if I can ever be a support and an ally to you. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this is helpful as we seek to deliver the words to cope with illness.